Good morning to one and all. Last second session, we have discussed different quantum numbers associated with Vectrata model and also essential features of Vectrata model, that is spatial quantization and electron spin. Is it not? I hope all of you can study well these two topics. They are very important concepts. Now, let us see. In the third session, I will discuss spectral terms and their notations. All of us aware that the state of an atom in which the value of the vector L, that is L can take the values 0, 1, 2, 3, etc., and are symbolically represented by the letters S, P, D, F, etc. L is equal to 0 is represented by S, L is equal to 1, P, L is equal to 2, D, subshells. The value of J is written as subscript. See here, while writing spectral term, you have to write the value of J as subscript. And multiplicity is given by 2s plus 1. Multiplicity is written on the superscript. You should not confuse here. While writing spectral terms, value of J should be written as subscript, whereas multiplicity should be written as superscript. For example, consider L is equal to 1. For L is equal to 1, the value of S is off. What about multiplicity? Multiplicity is given by 2s plus 1. If you substitute the value of s as of, 2 get cancelled, 1 plus 1 will become 2, and the value of j is L plus or minus s. 1 minus of is off and 1 plus of is 3 by 2. Is it not? We got two values per j, that is 1 by 2 and 3 by 2. Now, how we can write spectral terms for L is equal to 1 and S is equal to half? Already we have known that value of J must be written as subscript, whereas multiplicity should be written as superscript. The value of multiplicity is 2 and J is two values, 1 by 2 and 3 by 2. For L is equal to 1, it is denoted by P. Therefore, the spectral terms are 2p 1 by 2. So here multiplicity as superscript and L is equal to 1 is denoted by p and j value is half. And second term is 2p 3 by 2. Is it not? How we can write spectral terms for L is equal to 1 and S is equal to half? It is given by 2p 1 by 2 and 2p 3 by 2. Similarly, let us see another example. L is equal to 2 and S is equal to half. Always value of S is half only. Multiplicity, since S value is half, multiplicity will be same 2. But J value changes. J is equal to L plus or minus S. 2 plus half and 2 minus half. 2 minus half is 3 by 2 and 2 plus half is 5 by 2. Now, what are the spectral terms for L is equal to 2 and S is equal to half? The spectral terms are L is equal to 2 is denoted by D. Multiplicity is 2 and J value is, it is not half, it must be 3 by 2 and this one is 2D 5 by 2. Here it is printed as 1 by 2 but it is not 1 by 2, it is 3 by 2 and another term is 5 by 2. Okay, these are the spectral terms for L is equal to 2 and S is equal to half. The general form of spectral notation is, this is the general form X. X stands for the corresponding value of L. It will be S, P, D, F, whatever it may be depending upon the value of S, and the base subscript is J and multiplicity is 2s plus 1. This is the general form of spectral notation. In case of atoms belonging to one electron system, because every state is a doublet except the ground state. See, only for ground state there is only one single term, only for ground state, and remaining over all other states there are two terms. That is why it's called doublet. See here, For ground state, it is 2s 1 by 2 and 2p 1 by 2, 2p 3 by 2, 2d 3 by 2, 2d 5 by 2, 2f 7 by 2 and so on. In case of many electron system, the notations becomes more complex. This is regarding spectral terms. How we can write spectral terms and how they are notated. That means how they are presented. Regarding spectral terms and notations, we must know this. Now, let us see what are selection rules. When do we use selection rules? See here, the theoretically predicted values and experimentally observed values are not same. Theoretically predicted values, that means theoretically observed values and experimentally observed values, they are not identical. To explain this, we can see the example. In case of Balmer series, a Chalpa line consists of three components when observed experimentally. Experimentally, it contains only three components, but theoretically, we can see there are five components in case of a Chalpa line. To explain this discrepancy, selection rules were introduced. This is the reason why we have to discuss selection rules. Selection rule for L. When the electron jumps from one state to another, a spectral line results, and the selection rule is, we know that a spectral line will be obtained only when an electron jumps from higher orbit to lower orbit. What is selection rule for L? Delta L is equal to plus or minus 1. This is the selection rule for L. This means that only the lines for which L changes by plus or minus 1 can be experimentally observed. This is very important point. You can see the experimentally observed lines only for which L changes by plus or minus 1. That means L can change from 0 to 1 or from 1 to 0. But it cannot change from 0 to 2 or from 2 to 0. This is why it's called selection rule. Selection rule for S. Selection rule for S is delta S is equal to 0. That means transition takes place only from the orbits in which it contains same values. Then only it will become 0. The states with different values of S do not combine with one another. This is selection rule for S. Selection rule for J. Selection rule for J is delta J is equal to plus or minus 1 or 0. See here, spectral lines arise only when transition takes place between states for which J changes by plus 1 or minus 1 without 0 to 0 transition. This is selection rule for J. We must know the selection rule for L, S and J, orbital angular momentum, spin angular momentum and total angular momentum. Now let us see another simple concept, coupling schemes. What is this coupling scheme? All of us know that the electron in an atom has an orbital angular momentum L and spin angular momentum S. In atoms with two or more electrons, these orbital angular momentum and spin angular momentum of all its electrons can be added in two ways depending on the interaction or coupling between orbital and spin angular momenta. See here, in case of atoms containing two or more electrons, the orbital angular momentum and spin angular momentum of all its electrons can be added, can be interacted in two ways. Is it not? That's why we got there are two type of coupling schemes. The method of addition of orbital angular momentum L and spin angular momentum S is called coupling scheme. Is it not? What is coupling scheme? The orbital angular momentum and spin angular momentum of electrons in an atom can be added, can be interacted. This is called coupling scheme. There are two types of coupling, that is Russell-Saunders coupling, or it is also called LS coupling, and second one is JJ coupling. What are the two types of coupling? LS coupling and JJ coupling. What is LS coupling? The name itself indicates what happens in this coupling scheme. This method is employed when the interaction between the orbital vectors and that between the spin vectors of each electron is stronger than the interaction between orbital and spin vector of electrons. See, this is very important point. The interaction between L of each electron and orbital angular momentum of all electrons is stronger, and the interaction between the spin vectors, spin angular momentum of all vectors is stronger than the interaction between spin angular momentum and orbital angular momentum. That means we can simply say like this: the interaction between LLL of different electrons is stronger. The interaction between SSS vectors of each electron is stronger than the interaction between L and S vectors of each electron. In such case, LS coupling takes place. In this type, orbital angular momentum vectors of all the electrons inside the atom combine to form a resultant vector L. Since the interaction between orbital angular momentum of each electron is stronger, they are all added. Capital L, resultant angular momentum capital L, is given by L1 plus L2 plus L3, where L1 is orbital angular momentum of electron 1, L2 orbital angular momentum of electron 2, and so on. Similarly, the spin angular momentum vectors of all the electrons inside the atom combine to form a resultant spin angular momentum vector capital S. Capital S is equal to S1 plus S2 plus S3, where S1 is orbital angular momentum of electron 1, S2 is orbital angular momentum of electron 2, and so on. Then these resultants L and S combine to form J, the total angular momentum of the atom. That is, J is equal to capital plus S. This is called LS coupling. All these three vectors L, S, and J are quantized. This is called LS coupling. Is it not? Now I will discuss another one, that is second type of coupling, JJ coupling. This method is employed just opposite to LS coupling. See, LS coupling is employed when the interaction between L and L of each electron is stronger. Interaction between S and S of each electron is stronger than the interaction between L and S vectors. But exactly opposite here. In case of JJ coupling, in case of JJ coupling, see here, the interaction between spin and orbital vectors of each electron is stronger. See here, L and S is stronger here, not between L and L and S and S. The interaction between spin and orbital vectors of each electron is stronger than the interaction between either the spin vectors are the orbital vectors of different electrons, just opposite to LS coupling. In case of JJ coupling, each electron in an atom are considered separately. The L and S vectors of each electron are added to give total angular momentum vector J. J is equal to L plus S of each electron. For electron 1, J1 is equal to L1 plus S1. For electron 2, J2 is equal to L2 plus S2. Vector sum of all J vectors of all electrons gives total angular momentum capital J of the atom. Therefore, capital J is given by J1 plus J2 plus J3 plus etc. Is it not? That is, J1 is given by S1 plus L1, J2 is given by S2 plus L2, J3 is given by S3 plus L3, and so on. This is called JJ coupling. Why it is called JJ coupling? Because in each electron, the orbital angular momentum and spin angular momentum are added to give the total angular momentum J for each electron. That is why it is called J-J coupling. Is it not? Okay. Now we can discuss another important topic, police exclusion principle. And by using this police exclusion principle, we will derive an expression for maximum number of electrons in an orbit. State police exclusion principle and obtain an expression for maximum number of electrons in an orbit by using police exclusion principle. Important question. First, let us see what is statement of police exclusion principle. All of us know that Pauli's exclusion principle states that no two electrons in an atom can have the same set of four identical quantum numbers. See here? No two electrons in an atom can have the same set of four identical quantum numbers. This is very important. The quantum state of an electron in an atom is identified by its quantum numbers. Of the four quantum numbers, at least one must be different for two electrons. This is very important. If, for example, among the four quantum numbers, principal quantum number L, orbital quantum number L, magnetic orbital quantum number Ml, and magnetic spin quantum number Ms, at least Ms must be different for the second electron. The principle implies that each electron in an atom has a set of unique quantum numbers n, l, ml and ms. Two electrons cannot have the same four quantum numbers. By using this principle, we can calculate the number of electrons that can be occupied in a given shell. For example, consider the K shell. For K shell, we have the value of n as 1. Is it not? For subshell, the L is equal to 0, ML is 0. Since L value is 0, ML is also 0. S is off. Therefore, MS can take two values plus off or minus off. See, these are the quantum numbers for N is equal to 1 and subshell L is equal to 0. Hence, K shell can have only two electrons. Why? Electron with quantum number N is equal to 1, L is equal to 0, ML is equal to 0, MS is equal to off. This is for one electron, first electron. And for second electron, quantum number n is equal to 1, L is equal to 0, Ml is equal to 0, Ms is minus half. Here, for first electron, Ms is plus half, and for second electron, Ms is minus half. At least one quantum number is different for these two electrons. If there were a third electron, if it is a third electron, its quantum number will be identical with those of the third or second electron. That is impossible according to Pauli's exclusion principle, because for the existence of electrons, quantum numbers must be different. At least one quantum number must be different. Thus, K shell is completed only with two electrons. It cannot be completed with more than two electrons. In this way, we can explain Pauli's exclusion principle, and in the next session, I will explain very important derivation, how we can derive an expression for maximum number of electrons in an orbit by using Pauli's exclusion principle. Okay. Now I will end this session. Thank you.